The man standing before me had taken my daughter's life, and he had done it 99 times. Now only one final chance remained. I clenched my teeth. This time, I refused to fail. It started on an ordinary day, when a news broadcast suddenly reported strange creatures, zombies, and before long, the world fell completely apart. In that moment, I swore I would get my daughter Domi out alive. But for a middle-aged man past his prime and a young girl, living in a world like this was no different from being trapped in hell, and just like that, we both died. Yet in the very instant all hope was lost, an angel appeared before me. I was given another chance. I jolted awake in a panic, only to find myself completely unharmed, and above my head floated a strange number. What on earth was going on? No time to figure it out. I rushed over and knocked on my daughter's door to make sure she was safe. Seriously, Dad, what are you banging on the door for at this hour? The moment I saw her alive, I was overwhelmed with relief. I grabbed her hand and we started to run. I'm tired, Dad. Let go, Domi said, irritated. There's no time. We'll die if we don't move. Before I could even finish the sentence, a zombie with a gaping jaw lunged right at us. When I opened my eyes again, time had rewound to before our escape, and the number above my head had dropped from 99 to 98. In that moment, I understood that number represented my lives, each one a chance to save Domi. So for my daughter's sake, I began throwing everything I had into it. Even if it meant crossing lines no one should cross, for her I was willing to do anything. But eventually I finally came to understand, whether it was 100 times or 1,000, no matter how hard I fought, no matter how many times I conquered my fear for Domi's sake, there would only ever be one outcome: watching my beloved daughter die. And every time she died, I lost all will to go on. Every time I was reborn, I wept tears of despair, but I never let my daughter see me lose faith. Even if I fail hundreds of times, thousands of times, I will survive, and I will come for you. All you have to do is trust me, okay? So on the 99th life, I found the perfect refuge, a place guarded by soldiers from a military base and cared for by a medical team from a university hospital, a perfectly ordered sanctuary where conditions and luck came together. In the second to last life, I lived out my final years in peace there. I've been here for 40 years, Domi. Sorry to have kept you waiting. I had to be absolutely sure this was my last chance. Now I could say with certainty, as long as we could get here safely, we'd have a home. Dad is coming for you. I've replayed every detail hundreds of times over these 40 years, preparing for every possibility. Also, my daughter could survive to the end, and this time I would not make a single mistake. But when I pushed open the door this time, I was met with a sight that stopped my heart. Hundreds upon hundreds of zombies crowded right at our front door, something that had never happened in 40 years of rehearsals, not once across 10,000 runs. I froze completely, but this couldn't end here. I shoved my daughter behind me, and ignoring her cries, I bore the full force of the horde's bites alone. But nothing in this world is more agonizing than losing your own child, and that gut-wrenching pain, I had lived through it 99 times. The pain of death I had long grown used to. So please don't cry. Yet just as I thought it was truly over, a force erupted from deep within me. 100 times or 1,000, it didn't matter. I could die, but my daughter had to live. A tremendous power surged from my body, sending waves of zombies hurtling through the air. Then I launched myself forward and tore into them like a man possessed. Even as they gnawed at me, I bit back without flinching. After a brutal, agonizing battle and an infection, my body underwent a profound change. A single beast-like glare was now enough to make every zombie stop dead in its tracks. 100 failures etched into my very bones, and now at last, a glimmer of dawn. Don't worry, Domi. Even if I'm no longer human, I will protect you until the very last moment. On the 7th day of the outbreak at Supermarket A, the two of us, father and daughter, drew the immediate suspicion of the soldiers there. What's going on here? Who are you? There are zombies everywhere. How did you get here without a scratch? The officer's veins bulged with fury. Answer me before I blow your head off. And what's wrong with your face? Are you some kind of a celebrity? Why are you wearing sunglasses? Get lost. Former Captain Cha Hai-rai of the Tiger Unit stepped forward. There's no room here, so go look somewhere else. Didn't you hear me? I told you to get lost. Cha Hai-rai snapped. I simply turned to leave without a word. My daughter has been out on the streets for a week. Her asthma just flared up and she's suffering. If you really can't take both of us, at least take her. Please, the soldier smirked. You're out of your mind. You really think that cheap sympathy act is going to work on our captain? But Cha Hai-ri, who had overheard me, was already in tears. Let them in. Don't get the wrong idea. We just need the extra hands to help protect the supermarket. I smiled quietly at that. Some things never change, Captain Cha Hai-ri. She was one of the soldiers who had regrouped in Zone M, cold as a snake on the surface. Yet for reasons unknown, she was always easily moved by parental sacrifice. I noticed then that Domi's condition was deteriorating fast. If she didn't rest properly, the consequences would be dire. This was part of the variable too. What had happened a week ago had clearly left a shadow on her. And then there was my own transformation, which even I couldn't fully explain. I had been bitten by zombies, and yet I was stronger than ever. Had I really become one of them? Supermarket A, where we now were, was the best early survival location available, stocked with everything you could need, and the only place with actual armed defense. Though one thing puzzled me, the building next door had collapsed. That That had never happened in any previous run. One of the soldiers explained it shortly after. 3 days ago, a horde surrounded this place. Our captain lured them all into the building next door, alone, then detonated explosives she'd placed in advance. Blew those zombies to pieces. Ha, they're definitely all blown to hell in there, and if any survived, they're trapped with no way out. Right then, my expression darkened considerably. What's that look for? Don't tell me you think the zombies are going to crawl their way out of there? The next second, a massive zombie came crashing through the wall behind him, fists swinging straight at his head. Cha-Hai-Ri appeared just in time. Using her agility, she weaved around the monster's blows. All units, open fire! The soldiers unleashed a volley, yet it barely seemed to faze the creature. The provoked zombie swatted soldiers across the room in an instant. Cha-Hai-Ri, without a thought for her own safety, lunged forward to drag a subordinate out from under a lethal blow. Pull yourself together, she told herself. Focus. This isn't like 3 days ago. Recognizing the zombie's overwhelming strength, she immediately ordered the soldiers to fall back into the supermarket. I moved to call out to her, but she cut me off. Shut up. Run. And yet the moment I registered Domi's state, I charged straight at the zombie without hesitation. This one's going to feel good. Cha-Hai-Ri's plan was to lure the mutated zombie into the perimeter barrier outside the supermarket. Even a zombie couldn't break through that all at once, and in the meantime she'd find its weak point. But then she noticed a mass of civilians still on the ground floor. How is that possible? Hadn't they all been evacuated already? Left with no choice, Cha-Hai-Ri turned back to buy time for the evacuation. When she returned to where the zombie had been, only Domi was standing there. How are you the only one here? Did your father abandon you and run? She followed the direction the girl was pointing, and there I was, a towering figure throwing punch after punch into the zombie's body, one fist, then another, until it finally went still for good. The sight left everyone rooted to the spot. When it was all over, I stood there completely unscathed. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Dad couldn't keep the promise he made to you, Domi. Dad was just really scared of you getting hurt. Cha-Hai-Ri, badly shaken, raised her weapon and aimed it directly at me. Who exactly are you? My name is Min-seok, I said, without so much as blinking. Domi's father, and also a zombie expert. What? Cha-Hai-Ri looked completely lost. Seeing she wasn't convinced, I explained. After the outbreak, I conducted a thorough analysis of their weaknesses. Happy to have been of help. I look forward to working together going forward. I see. And you think I'm going to believe that? Explain yourself. That thing couldn't be killed by bullets? How did you take it down with your bare hands? And why are your eyes red? Answer me. Are you even human? My answer was simple. Guns absolutely can kill zombies. It was already badly wounded from the gunfire, greatly weakened. I just delivered the finishing blow. It was a mutant formed by 2 zombies merging, devastating attack power, but also extreme durability as a defining trait. That said, it had one weakness, its jaw. You just need to hit it with the force of a sledgehammer. As for my eyes, it's a congenital lack of melanin. That's why I cover them with sunglasses. Stares like yours make me deeply uncomfortable. Cha-Hai-Ri looked unconvinced but had no real counter. She suspected I was a zombie, but she had never seen a zombie protect its daughter before. You can come in, but I'll be watching you closely, Mr. Expert. 2 soldiers came over to check on their commander, only to get knocked flat by a kick from Cha-Hai-Ri. When a situation breaks out, evacuate everyone to the underground parking structure immediately. If that thing isn't dead, everyone in this supermarket is finished. Next time you make a mistake like this, don't wait for the zombies. I'll kill you myself. The soldiers watched her go with barely concealed resentment. Inside the supermarket, Domi let out a sigh of relief. How did you lie like that with such a straight face? My heart was practically jumping out of my chest. If I'd acted flustered, she never would have bought it. Besides, she's not someone who acts on impulse. You know her? Domi asked, puzzled. Flashes of countless past lives fighting side by side with her flickered through my mind. Never met her. Just a read on her character. The sunglasses you're wearing, Domi. You picked those out for me. You have to promise not to tell anyone about anything strange. If people find out, they might try to hurt you. That's our deal. Understood? Domi was right. If my identity were exposed here, people would descend into a hysteria beyond all control. When I returned with food for Domi, she had already fallen asleep from exhaustion. That gave me time to take stock of my own situation. The power that had entered my body a week ago felt strangely familiar, as if it had always been there from the very beginning. Something else nagged at me too. The zombies seemed to be escalating far faster than before. 100 zombies at our door, a mutant appearing just 1 week in. Across all 99 past lives, things had never moved this quickly, and I had a rough idea why they were changing. It was because of me. I could feel them searching for me, trying to root me and my daughter out, whether it was hatred or fear driving them. One thing was certain, in the eyes of the zombies, I was also a variable, but seeing every zombie in the area converging on this spot, I felt no fear whatsoever. Good. All gathered in one place saves me the trouble of hunting you down. No point in hesitating. Let's get this done. I still need to have dinner ready before my daughter wakes up. With that, I grabbed a metal ladder and started laying into the horde. Against pure, overwhelming force, no breed of zombie stands a chance. After a relentless bloodbath, every last zombie in the area had been wiped out, finished with one satisfying final blow. The next morning, as my daughter stirred peacefully from sleep and stretched herself awake, I had already prepared a healthy breakfast and set it in front of her. Eat up, Domi, you must be hungry. Meanwhile, Across the way in Chae-ri's office, she was receiving news that left her speechless. Following 4 hours of howling through the dead of night, every zombie in the entire area had apparently been wiped out. That makes no sense. Are we supposed to believe they started killing each other? That many zombies completely annihilated in just 4 hours? Then something clicked in Chae-ri's mind. She immediately assembled everyone. Effective immediately, Supermarket A will begin its evacuation plan. As word of the zombies' disappearance spread, the civilians were equal parts stunned and overjoyed. The zombies are really gone. We're safe. I quietly put a helmet on Domi's head. Domi, listen carefully. Whatever happens, you do not take this helmet off. Understood? At that moment, Chae-ri stepped forward with her soldiers. For reasons as yet unknown, it has been confirmed. The zombies in this area have been completely eliminated. The civilians erupted in celebration. Then Chae-ri doused it. And that's exactly why we need to leave. The crowd was incredulous. Why? If there are no zombies, why run? Chae-ri explained. 3 days ago, before the radio went dark, she'd been in contact with the 2nd Mechanized Infantry Brigade. By all estimates, it was the last brigade-level unit with operational forces in the region, fully equipped and open to civilian survivors. But the crowd pushed back. You want us to leave everything based on one radio call? How do you even know it was real? You don't need to worry about that. I know our contact better than anyone. The warrior they call Blue Eagle. We can trust him completely. Trust? Don't make me laugh. Following a 3-day-old message is the same as walking into our graves. We must move. If the zombies return, we won't survive another wave. Absolutely not. We're staying. The zombies might not come back at all. Seeing the standoff between soldiers and civilians getting nowhere, I stepped forward. The zombies will come back. Who asked you? Save the Prophet Act for someone else, people jeered and shoved at me. I kept my voice steady and even. Staying here means becoming sitting ducks. Going with them doesn't guarantee your survival, but without the military, you will die. A silence fell over the crowd. When you put it that way, the captain isn't wrong. Without them, we wouldn't even be here. Let's go together. We've survived this long because of their protection. We trust the soldiers. We're following Captain Cha. Chae-ri stared at me with quiet astonishment as I effortlessly won the crowd over. No need to thank me, I said simply. Talking people into things when the odds are against me. That happens to be one of my strengths. Everything I do for my daughter, and I believe the captain is more than capable of getting us there. So the escape began. A small convoy of buses moved through a broken, empty city, refugees and soldiers alike on edge, nerves stretched thin. Then, without warning, a zombie appeared ahead, followed immediately by an entire swarm hurling itself at the vehicles. Chae-ri barked the order to fire, splitting into 2 groups as she drew the zombies away herself. Exploiting the zombies' sensitivity to sound, Chae-ri and her team hurled cans to distract them. The trick worked perfectly, pulling the horde right to them. Just keep this distance. Don't let them get close. But the numbers were far beyond what anyone had anticipated. With no other option, Chae-ri ordered them towards Seongsam Bridge, using the zombies' indiscriminate nature against them. One sharp swerve sent dozens tumbling into the water, followed by a sustained barrage of gunfire. The zombies' third known weakness, the rear flank, is virtually undefended. Then I burst onto the scene with a dramatic entrance, driving a road roller straight through the horde, crushing them flat. The brazen zombies tried to fight back, but against tens of tons of rolling steel, the attempt was nothing. On the other side of the convoy, Domi sat quietly, her mind heavy with worry. She thought back to the question she had asked me not long ago. Dad, why do you have to be the one to go? Because no one else can do what I can. I'll be right there beside you, don't worry. But what if the soldiers find out your secret? I told her not to worry. I'm just there to assist. Then, in that very moment, she watched my unstoppable form with wide, stunned eyes. A few stray zombies appeared at the roadside, trying to block our path. They were pulverized beneath the roller in an instant, completely obliterated. The rare warmth of a post-apocalyptic sun fell across the convoy, and we made it. We reached the 2nd Mechanized Infantry Brigade. This unit had survived for a long time in the previous life thanks to strong leadership, one of the key staging posts on the road to City D, and we had made it here in just 8 days, faster than any prior run. Still, I couldn't afford to let my guard down. Getting stronger was no excuse for recklessness. If I slipped up, Domi could end up in danger again. You were incredible, Mr. Expert. The soldiers couldn't stop praising my driving. Honestly, I wasn't exactly thrilled about fighting alongside you, but you saved our lives. Even the stoic Chae-ri offered a quiet thank you. Just then, someone came out to meet them. We've been expecting you, Captain Chae-ri. This was Lieutenant Lee In-hee, company commander of the infantry brigade. I was notified today. Colonel Cha told me that with your abilities, you'd arrive by nightfall. He also said there'd be a stubborn, loud woman soldier coming. Then where is the colonel? Chae-ri barely kept her temper in check. He's at the back gate. There was a zombie sighting. What? Chae-ri couldn't believe it. Colonel Cha went out to handle it personally? No, that's not quite right. Right, fair enough. He's getting on in years. The colonel went alone. At that very moment, at the observation post above the back gate, Soldiers began timing. 27 seconds. The colonel broke his own record. Colonel Chapong-ho smiled with quiet satisfaction. That's why they call me the Infantry Brigade's axe. That swing felt incredible. Sure enough, it was Brigade Commander Blue Eagle, Colonel Chapong-ho, standing with a battle axe in hand, commanding presence radiating off of him. Sir, maybe use a gun next time, and we're right here too. Getting bitten would be a real problem. The colonel laughed heartily. Me, bitten by something like this? You're joking. At my level, one glance is all it takes to read their combat capability. And what exactly is your combat capability supposed to do for me? Honestly, laughable. Ow, everything aches. They're not wrong when they say age catches up with you. Is it too much to ask that just once, something genuinely useful falls out of the sky instead of these dead weights? At that moment, the zombie behind him suddenly lunged, only to be reduced to dust under the approaching road roller. A battle-hardened man through and through, this was the first time I'd ever seen the colonel show genuine shock. A man of his caliber could read a person's combat level at a glance. But I stepped forward right away with a greeting. Hello, my name is Min-seok. I came with Captain Shahe-ri. He didn't wait for me to finish. He swung his axe straight at my head. The two soldiers were stunned. Sir, you can't just attack a civilian. Then they fell silent. Because I had caught the axe with one hand, effortlessly. The brigade commander bellowed at the soldiers. Get back inside and trigger the red defense alert. This man is a monster. You really can't be fooled, can you, Colonel Chapong-ho? I quietly took the axe and crushed the blade in my fingers like brittle stone. I need to stay here, which means I need your approval. And clearly, words alone won't be enough. So let me show you who I am, the way you like best. Chapong-ho cracked his knuckles, amused. I've lived long enough to meet every kind of madman. How did you know that kind of talk would get under my skin? With that, Chapong-ho leapt high into the air and came hurtling at me. Meanwhile, back at the brigade, the red alert had thrown everyone into a frenzy. Even Shahe-ri found herself with Captain Guo's weapon pointed at her. A monster attacking the brigade commander behind the base, gave your name, Min-seok, that's what he called himself. The view cut back to me, quietly shattering the wall behind the brigade commander with a single strike. The colonel's eyes went wide. One punch did that, and you still dare call yourself human? He wound up a heavy kick and launched it at me. The next second I simply vanished, then reappeared behind him at a breathtaking speed. But the punch I threw was slow, deliberately, and the brigade commander read it, sidestepping cleanly. He countered with a punch square to my face, and in that instant something clicked for him. He grabbed my arm. Are you playing with me? You held back just now, you were letting me win. Yes, I won't deny it. If I'd gone at full strength, Colonel, you might not have survived. Chapong-ho went quiet and thought. He was right. From the moment we first made contact, every single cell in his body had registered the overwhelming gap between us, which only deepened his confusion. So what's this all about? Why come to me? I need your protection, I said, with absolute sincerity. Chapong-ho burst out laughing. Spare me. What kind of protection could a creature like you possibly need? No, the one who needs protecting isn't me. It's my daughter, Domi. Please, allow my daughter, myself, and the others who came with us to stay here. If you agree, I will do anything you ask of me. That night, in the civilian barracks, whispers about me ran through the room. Did you hear? They're saying he's a monster. I thought something was off back at the supermarket. His eyes were red, just like the zombies. Is he actually one of them? A dangerous man like you. Why would I ever trust you? The brigade commander challenged. And yet I was the one who volunteered for isolation. If you can't trust me, lock me up, separate from everyone else. However long it takes, I will prove it. I'm not dangerous. Just then, a small face appeared at the prison window. Domi had come to visit her father. Domi, are you all right? She said the soldiers had been kind to her. The alert was lifted and she was allowed to come. The shelter was just so stuffy. I'm sorry, I told her. I promised I wouldn't do anything reckless, and then I went and broke that promise again, Domi. Dad must have let you down. Domi reached through the window and gave my head a gentle knock. Without you, there's no way any of us would have made it here safely. So hold your head up, no matter what anyone else says. I believe in you, Dad. Her words eased something deep in my chest. I have to go. Roll call is at 10. I'll get an earful if I'm late. Good night, Dad. But when she turned and walked away, her eyes were already full of quiet, tender tears. A moment later, a soldier opened the door. Mr. Min-seok, the brigade commander wants to see you. The view shifted to Brigade Commander Chapong-ho pointing at a map. 20 minutes ago, acoustic sensors detected a large number of survivor signals inside the collapsed subway station, along with an unidentified anomalous frequency. Our tactical priority is rapid mobility. Too many forces would only slow us down. So I'm sending in a select team. That team is me. And you, Min-seok. You said you'd do anything for your daughter. Well, here's your chance. With that, I snapped the iron chains off my wrists without effort. When do we leave? Inside the subway station, the trapped civilians were in desperate straits. A woman's young child kept crying out, "Daddy." Then a suffocating, oppressive presence descended from above. The zombies on the ceiling had spotted them. At that same moment, before the zombies on the ground could strike, a military vehicle came smashing through, sending them flying. The brigade commander grinned at me proudly. Tell me my vehicle's better than your road roller. A road roller has the power but not the mobility, and for what we're doing right now, speed is everything. Because this mission has two serious variables. First, the entrance has collapsed and the subway tracks are blocked. And second, the more critical one. This unidentified entity is trapped in an enclosed space with the survivors, which means every second counts. We go in through the ventilation shaft, get the survivors out fast. Every single one. No one gets left behind. Clear. And then I threw cold water on it. The mission will fail. The timing changes each time, but this subway collapse always happens. You always come up with the best possible plan, Colonel. But in every single run, not one person has been saved. Cut to the child's mother, hanging upside down in a web, along with the other survivors. "What is this?" she screamed in confusion, shrieking her son's name. Struggling violently, she snapped the webbing free, and one by one the others crashed down from the web alongside her, the mother still desperately searching for her child. Then, from somewhere above in the webbing, the nosy woman who had been watching everyone began to contort grotesquely. She opened a horrifying gaping maw and swallowed a man whole. "A zombie?" Everyone broke into a screaming run. "How is there a zombie here? Run!" Still the woman called out her son's name again and again. Then she heard it. A single small voice. "Daddy," coming from below, deep underground. She ran toward the sound into the darkness. "I'm coming, baby, wait for me." But when she reached the bottom, the sight before her stopped her cold. A monstrous, infant-shaped zombie grinned at her with blood-soaked teeth. "Daddy," the zombie called out. "No, this can't be real. This has to be a nightmare, a horrible nightmare." Then in the next instant, a vehicle wreathed in flames came smashing straight through the subway station wall. The explosion sent the zombie hurtling backward. I told the brigade commander, "Conventional tactics won't work here. Only something unconventional will do." This type of zombie is called a flayed walker, a high-level, spider-type zombie that sedates its human prey before hunting them, and mimics human form to lure in its victims. The disgusting creature launched a stream of webbing at me. I drove my fist straight into its face. Fire is its one true weakness. Just keep it suppressed with flames and it's done. But at that moment, a rock came flying at me. "Stop, please. Don't hurt my child." I didn't flinch. I kicked the zombie aside. My daughter's face flashed through my mind, and my contempt for this hideous thing that dared to scream "Daddy" only burned hotter. I put everything I had into a single punch at its jaw. The force sent it spiraling into its death throes. A savage kick followed, shattering whatever semblance of form it had left, ringing an agonized howl from it. Blow after blow stripped away the disguise entirely. There it is. That's the sound something like you should be making. From now on, the only noise you'll ever make is screaming. Then I tore it apart piece by piece without mercy. Outside at the main entrance, the survivors were barely holding the zombie horde at bay. A sharp, choking smoke suddenly swept over them, and that's when they noticed. The zombies had all gone completely still. The reinforced door blew apart with an explosion, and through the blast I emerged like a figure out of legend, leading the survivors to safety. The subway rescue was a success. Total survivors recovered, 37. In a completely sealed, zombie-filled space with no way to avoid them. We had pulled out nearly 40 trapped people. It was nothing short of a miracle. And so, amid the cheers of the crowd, Domi's father, that is to say me, became the man who made miracles happen. This time, I would never let my daughter suffer even the slightest harm again. But that night, in a corner of the military camp, the zombie virus began to spread once more, while the survivors in the camp sang and danced, celebrating their victory. Brigade Commander Cha Pong-ho was in especially high spirits. "From the very first moment I met you, I knew you were destined for great things, but I never imagined you'd pull it off like this. I'm counting on you going forward." He let out a sigh. "A night like this calls for drinking until dawn, but I suppose we should hold back. If we're all passed out drunk, the ones who've already gone would be heartbroken. Let's raise a glass for the ones who've already left this hell behind." I drank quietly and let the question I'd been sitting on finally slip out. "Why haven't you asked me anything, Colonel? You never asked me why I was so certain the mission would fail. You never asked me why I turned into this kind of monster. Aren't you curious?" The brigade commander shrugged it off. He said he had no interest in stories. "In this hell, as long as you have the will to save others, you're one of us. You really haven't changed one bit, Colonel. But speaking of which, I do have one question," the brigade commander said, leaning forward. "You mentioned your destination is City D. With your strength, you could have been there already. Why come here?" "Because there's something I had to finish here first, and every time I've rushed ahead without thinking, things have a habit of going badly." The colonel cut straight through it. "You're talking about your daughter, aren't you? I could see at the moment I laid eyes on you. In this world, the one closest to your heart and the one who gives you the most grief is always your child." Just then, Domi called out to me, "Dad, I'm heading back. I'm a bit tired today." So I walked her back to her room. Watching me go, the brigade commander couldn't help but murmur, "That boy's got the eyes of a young father, so gentle. But Min-seok, I'm not going to let you go easily. You're the only reason I can restart that great plan of mine." At that very moment, a soldier came rushing in, face drained of color. Something's happened. Meanwhile, on the way back with Domi, the brigade commander's words lingered in my mind and I found myself drifting. "Domi, I want to ask you something. Does it scare you, seeing me like this? Even though I've changed completely from how I used to be, would Domi still call me dad without a second thought? Domi, are you afraid of me?" "I am. I'm scared Scared every single day, scared that one day you'll turn on me too. But I don't want to keep pretending anymore. It's exhausting, so tell me the truth. Where is my real dad? You disgusting monster. Thank God, it was just my imagination. Domi was gently holding my arm, a look of quiet worry in her eyes. What's wrong? You looked so deep in thought just now. Nothing, Domi. Oh, that cough of yours sounds pretty bad. Are you alright? I don't know, it just won't stop. I told you to dress warmer, didn't I? Go inside for now. I'll go get you something for it. Suddenly, my crimson eyes filled with killing intent. My hand shot out and lunged toward Domi. Dad, what are you doing? I opened my palm to reveal a single red-eyed mosquito crushed inside. At that same moment, an alarm tore through the camp. Black alert. Black alert activated. All personnel seek shelter immediately. There is a zombie inside the base. I had told the brigade commander those zombies were only going to keep getting stronger and smarter. Their threat to us will never stop. Still, a small mutant zombie was no match for the brigade commander at all. The Blue Eagle, a man who soared above every battlefield, neutralized it in an instant. Even so, a zombie breaching the base was enough to send everyone into a state of panic. Cha Peng-ho immediately ordered everyone move to the shelter. How did this damned virus get inside my base? He seethed. Then he noticed it. On the infected skin, a raw crimson wound, exactly like a bug bite. Another infected zombie came lurching in. The brigade commander kicked it across the room, then drove his fist straight through it. Hey, you, go get my gear, and you, find Min-seok, tell him to suit up. These suicidal zombies dare show their faces in my territory? This is my ground. This kingdom that I, Cha Peng-ho, built with my own hands. As the zombies came one after another, even the brigade commander found himself in a hard fight. I quickly got Domi fully geared up. Don't take any of this off this time, understand? Dad, isn't this a bit much? What kind of zombie is it this time? You know, don't you, Dad? I explained. This one is called Mosky, a mosquito-type, ultra-small mutant zombie. Once bitten, the incubation period varies, but everyone eventually turns. That thought sat heavy in my chest. The reason I hadn't anticipated this was simple. Even across all my past lives, I'd only ever encountered this breed once. But that's no excuse to let my guard down now. If anything happened to Domi, it would all be over. The Mosky would keep coming, but they were only the secondary threat. When Cha-hae-ri got word that the zombies were insects, she was completely taken aback. But upon hearing it was the assessment of her expert, she covered herself with a veil and didn't question it. She turned and gave the order, cover every inch of exposed skin, then join the internal suppression operation immediately. A sentry at the base reported in, there's a strange zombie outside. Looks exactly like a giant toad. Then the toad creature suddenly threw open its mouth wide, and tens of thousands of red-eyed mosquitoes came pouring out in a swarm, so thick and vast they nearly blotted out the sky. Cha-hae-ri was just about to order everyone inside the buildings when she saw me spring into action. A moment earlier, when a soldier had pushed me to move out, I had snapped back. I'm a civilian. You're the soldiers. I'm not saying it again. I'm staying here. Domi quietly put my hat on for me. Don't worry, right now it's not just a mosquito that can't touch me. A lion couldn't either. I want everyone here to survive, but there's nothing I can do. But Dad, you can. The view cut. I raised a flamethrower, pulled the trigger, and a torrent of fire incinerated the entire swarm to ash. The toad creature stumbled back in terror, then leapt up, desperate to flee. Without hesitation, I jumped down from the tower and joined Cha-hae-ri in pursuit. She confirmed the target. That's the one that threw our whole base into chaos, isn't it? You know how to take this one out too, right? I do, I said, without a shred of doubt. Then handle it first, and brace yourself afterward. I've got a whole list of questions I've been saving up for you. If you try to feed me lies, I will not let it go. The toad then retreated into a cave. Inside lurked a high-level mutant zombie capable of replicating its own subsidiary organisms and multiplying their numbers indefinitely, the Strid. As its host, it typically hides in dark, damp places, nearly impossible to find, until now. As the Mosky kept spitting out wave after wave of mutated mosquitoes trying to break through, Cha-hae-ri stood at the exit with her flamethrower, already sealing off every escape route, not giving them even a crack. I knew exactly what made this zombie so dangerous. Its breeding was endless. Kill the host, and the subsidiary organisms could revive it. The symbiotic relationship meant that even eliminating the host wasn't enough as long as a single subsidiary survived. But the solution was straightforward enough. Seal them in and keep killing, until the multiplication stopped entirely. And frankly, finishing these things off in one quick sweep wouldn't be nearly enough to satisfy my anger. I launched myself in and threw myself into the thick of it. The cave filled with the sounds of frenzied screaming. Cha-hae-ri stared in disbelief. What is that madman doing in there? Min-seok. A few days earlier, when she'd heard the brigade commander wanted to bring me in as support, she'd had the same expression. But the brigade commander had been dead serious about it. Don't you understand yet? Min-seok isn't just the answer for our base. He's the answer for all of humanity. The next day, as the sunlight lit up the dust-caked rubble of the cave's entrance, a blood-soaked hand burst through the debris. After 18 hours of brutal, relentless slaughter, the Strid and its 720,000 subsidiary organisms had been completely wiped out. Meanwhile, the brigade commander had taken down over a dozen mutant zombies with his bare hands. Thanks to that, all the civilians had been safely evacuated. Took a few hits along the way, got a little hairy. I'm really not what I used to be. Then the brigade commander asked about me. Where did Min-seok go? Did he take out the toad body zombie? And when they saw me returning, victorious, the answer for humanity that the brigade commander had spoken of took on an entirely new meaning for Cha-hae-ri. The next day, Cha-hae-ri grabbed a soda and went to find me. She was seen pacing back and forth, rehearsing exactly what tone to use when handing it over, and ultimately came to the conclusion that she simply couldn't pull it off naturally. Ugh, I'm losing my mind. How do I make this look casual? Fine, I'll just go say hi. Min-seok did save our base after all. As luck would have it, she spotted me already talking with the brigade commander. Perfect. With 3 people it won't be awkward. I'll just hand it to him and leave. That was the plan, until she heard what I was saying. I mean exactly what I said. Tonight, Domi and I are leaving. The brigade commander looked genuinely pained. I always knew you were headed for City D and I can't stop you. But why so suddenly? If something worse than the Strid shows up now, this entire base is done for. Can't you stay just a little longer until we're stronger? I shut it down flat. Why should I? Why would I put myself through all that for the people here, whether they live or die? Has nothing to do with me. Cha-hae-ri's expression hardened. Are you serious? Dead serious. The only person I care about is Domi. What happens to the rest of you is none of my concern. Cha-hae-ri stormed off without another word. It all played out exactly as I expected. I had said it deliberately for her ears specifically. In earlier lifetimes on the supermarket route, something like this would occasionally happen. The longer Cha-hae-ri and I fought side by side through life and death, the more attached she would grow, and I had to cut that off at the root before it went any further. That was the only way to keep her safe. Hearing what I said, the brigade commander urged me to reconsider. Think clearly before you act. Min-seok, given the current situation, can you truly be certain City D is safe? Why not stay here and work with me to build this base into the strongest refuge there is? It was a tempting offer. With the 2 of us, it wasn't impossible, but time was something I didn't have. In the previous life, the Strid appeared in year 10. This time it had shown up in 10 days. If other high-level zombies were moving at the same accelerated pace, this base would be rubble before it ever had the chance to grow strong. I said what needed to be said, simply and plainly. I've made up my mind. Tonight, Domi and I are going to City D. But Colonel, I do have one more thing to propose. I know your goal is to build the strongest refuge humanity has ever seen. So come with me and see for yourself what you've been so curious about, the fate of the City D refuge. So the Colonel and I set out together, forming the City D expedition, and we were underway. The zombie ahead had hides so thick and dense it could survive a direct lightning strike. I explained to the Colonel, this one is called Biskex, a slug-type high-level mutant zombie. Its defining trait, it's venomous. Every part of its body carries lethal poison. A single touch could kill you. However, it's nocturnal. When exposed to ultraviolet light, the toxin secreted through its skin solidifies, drastically slowing its agility. When that happens, you just need to sever the protruding mass on top of its head to finish it off. With that, the Colonel confirmed there were no living creatures in the immediate area and ordered a rest stop. The information sparked a discussion between 2 soldiers. The more I watch him, the stranger it gets. How does this Min-seok know so much about zombies? Well, he's the expert, isn't he? So what? Does being an expert mean he went through the outbreak earlier than us? And the brigade commander, going along with his nonsense when we're already short on ammunition? The commander's getting old, his head's starting to go a bit soft. Anyone talking like that would be an insult to our brigade commander, wouldn't you say? The soldier who said it promptly received his reckoning. Meanwhile, Domi had just climbed out of the vehicle and was stretching when I came up from behind. She nearly jumped out of her skin. What is wrong with you? Sneaking up on me like that? I'm still not totally used to your face, she admitted. A wave of guilt washed over me. Sorry, Domi. Am I not much like your dad anymore? I mean, I've changed so much. Is it hard to still think of me as your dad? Thank you for still calling me dad. Even as I said it, I couldn't stand how rambling it sounded. But this question had gnawed at me for so long that I hadn't been able to say it out loud, because the truth was I was terrified of what Domi might say. Then she pointed at my eyes. They're still the same. Were my eyes bloodshot this much before too? What? No, it's not the color, Domi said, drifting into thought. From the day we said goodbye to Mom, all the way until now, Dad's eyes have always looked the same. That look, like you believe you're the most pitiful person in the world, always carrying that guilt for me in your eyes. Honestly, every time I see that look on you, it drives me a little crazy. The most pitiful person in this world is you, Dad, not me. 2 weeks ago, one day, someone came through the front door looking like they'd been through a war, and I saw that look again. In this world, the only person who would ever look at me with eyes that gentle is you, Dad. The view shifted to the following day. Facing the zombie now, sluggish from the toxin solidifying across its body, the Colonel simply ordered a full barrage. Just as the zombie was wailing in agony, I stepped onto its back and launched into the air. Twin blades in hand, I brought them down with everything I had and split it in 2. The soldier who had been grumbling just yesterday couldn't believe what he was seeing. That's impossible, and the brigade commander simply gave him a pat on the head. I understand your skepticism about Min-seok, but I'm afraid you no longer have the luxury of doubting him. In this hell, all we can do is trust that man. In my 99th life, the journey to City D had taken 378 days, and yet in this, my 100th life, just 14 days after the outbreak began, we arrived arrived at the City D we had dreamed of. National Military Command Headquarters. Most of the city had fallen, but City D alone had held. Not only had they endured 3 straight days of assault, they had successfully defended themselves. And when we arrived, every single one of us was stunned. Even the colonel, who had seen everything, stood there with his mouth open. Min-seok, this City D of yours looks nothing like what I imagined. This is so much better than anything I pictured. Now I finally understand why you've been thinking about City D this whole time. This completely blows away my expectations. A city this intact, still standing like this. Honestly, my heart is pounding just looking at it. But my own expression was dark and tightly guarded. Something is seriously wrong here. In my memory, after the outbreak, every city across the country had fallen without exception, City D included. Then City D began fighting back and gradually expanded its territory. By the time I successfully arrived, they had managed to hold 3 districts, but right now, they were holding far more than that. And with only 14 days having passed, it was deeply unsettling. Something inside me was screaming, the instinct of 100 reborn lives whispering a warning. I grabbed Domi's arm quickly. Domi, listen to me. From this moment on, you do not leave my side. Not for a second. Understood? Just as the colonel was preparing to give the order to enter City D, one of his soldiers stepped forward with a report. You know that enormous open plain we passed on the way here? I noticed something strange, what looked like massive lines drawn intentionally into the ground. They were too large to make out with the naked eye, so I thought it was odd and got the drone up to take a look. And this is what I found. I rushed over and grabbed the tablet out of his hands. What I saw on the screen left me completely speechless, because the image on the ground was unmistakably the angel goddess, the very being who had given me the chance to be reborn. In that moment, I still didn't know the source of the dread that had settled over my heart, nor could I know what kind of storm was waiting to receive us in the City D I had longed for across 100 lifetimes. Just then, inside City D's expo tower, a voice of authority rang out, "Bring them in, not a single one is to be lost." That night, City D erupted in speeches and celebration. 2 weeks ago today, we were like candles trembling in the wind. We had lost our loved ones, our friends, and with them every last shred of hope and joy. And then, he appeared before us. He is Baek Do-hyun. At the name, the citizens of City D erupted into absolute frenzy. He really came. Baek Do-hyun is here. Baek Do-hyun began to speak, slowly and deliberately. We are facing a crisis the likes of which humanity has never seen. This is not only our crisis, it belongs to all of mankind. But we survived. Swept up in the fever of his words, the crowd descended into even wilder celebration. My dear citizens of City D, do you think our survival was merely an accident? We are the last embers, the hope that has been rekindled from the ashes. Baek Do-hyun, we've survived because of you. Baek Do-hyun struck his chest. I give you my word. I will never let this final ember go dark. Even if I must burn myself, I will protect this city until the very last moment. Baek Do-hyun, Baek Do-hyun. The crowd completely lost themselves, the chanting crashing like waves. The colonel looked stunned. Ryu Min-seok, is this the City D you told me about? No, this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. And that man, that's when I noticed, the figure standing behind Baek Do-hyun. In the previous life, that was the central figure in City D's reconstruction under the Blue Eagle. Now it looked like he'd been reduced to a supporting role, but the most important thing was, there was someone missing. The Blue Eagle unit's leader, the hero, Shinji Woo. Where had he gone? What kind of variable had altered City D so completely? Then Baek Do-hyun's tone shifted. Today, our beloved goddess has brought new companions to this city. Here they are. Let's welcome them with a round of applause. At that instant, a powerful explosion rang out, a smoke grenade. I shielded Domi and shouted for everyone to cover their mouths and noses. As I was trying to figure out who had thrown it, Baek Do-hyun collapsed onto the ground, coughing violently. Then a soldier stepped forward and pressed a gun to his head. He pulled the trigger, and the crowd erupted in screaming panic. In the same moment, Baek Do-hyun was shot. The assailant was swiftly subdued by Blue Eagle unit soldiers, and the would-be assassin was none other than their own former leader, Shinji Woo. Shinji Woo bellowed at the crowd. Citizens, it's over. Please wake up. Don't you see what's been happening? We've been deceived by Baek Do-hyun all along. You have to open your eyes. And then Baek Do-hyun, whose head had just been blown open, got up. After a brief stunned silence, the crowd plunged back into frenzied joy. He's alive again. Mayor Baek Do-hyun came back. Shinji Woo stood there powerless, his eyes wild with fury. Baek Do-hyun, you monster. Baek Do-hyun smiled faintly. Today is a day of very special significance. That despicable demon attempted to assassinate me on this very day. And so the long-awaited day of judgment has finally come for the demon, Shinji Woo. The cult-like crowd erupted all over again. Shinji Woo, you wretched demon. Did you really think our Mayor Baek Do-hyun could be brought down by someone like you? Execute him! Execute him! The chant shook the air. Baek Do-hyun raised a hand and the crowd fell quiet. My dear citizens of City D, thank you. The reason I was able to rise after death is because each and every one of you was with me. You are the true citizens of the City of Miracles. The dragon goddess descends upon our hearts. The last ember is a flame that will never be extinguished. City D forever. Long live Mayor Baek Do-hyun. For a very long time, a question had lived somewhere deep in my mind, after going through something so inexplicable, and emerging as an entirely different kind of being, unrecognizable from before. Was I truly the only one? That overwhelming sense of dread I had felt upon arriving at City D. Every single thing I'd experienced up to this moment, it was like a complex puzzle, its outline only now beginning to emerge, slowly delivering the truth toward me. Baek Do-hyun, that man, was a zombie just like me. "Let's get out of here," one of the soldiers said, already heading for the Expo Tower exit. "Brigade Commander, we should get back to base. Something is very off about this place. The infrastructure here is incredible. The electrical lines, the plumbing, all of it, remarkable. But the people here are not right in the head. And that mayor, the lunatic in the white suit with his eyes hidden, he's the strangest of them all. That whole getting shot performance almost made me physically sick. All of it was staged. The black-haired man was in on it. I saw the whole thing. When that man in black put the gun to his head, that lunatic Baek Do-hyun was smiling. Collusion, deception, manipulation, all classic staging techniques. And tomorrow there's some kind of execution ceremony. Who knows what show that'll turn out to be. Either way, we'd be better off not getting tangled up in it." Hearing that, Cha Pong-ho's expression darkened. He sent everyone else out and called me in alone for a private conversation. He got straight to the point. "Tell me, is Baek Do-hyun the same kind of creature as you?" I said from the start that I can tell at a single glance. "That lunatic, one look and I could see he's not human, same as you. Did you know this and bring us here on purpose? Did you plan this with Baek Do-hyun to set us up?" "No, absolutely not. Making an enemy of you would mean Domi's safety could never be guaranteed. Baek Do-hyun is just as much a variable to me as he is to you." Cha Pong-ho stood up at that. "Then I've reached my conclusion. Let's go, back to base. I have faith in what I built, but the longer we're away, the more I worry. City D's infrastructure is undeniably impressive, and my dream has always been to restore humanity, to restore this country. This place is better suited than anywhere else to become humanity's first city of rebuilding. But the City D that stands before us now, shrouded in this kind of fanatical atmosphere, there's no saving it, and that is a genuine shame. Like the soldier said, the longer we stay, the more trouble we'll find ourselves in. Let's go back." I agreed without hesitation. The next day, I appeared as planned at the Expo Science Park where Baek Do-hyun was based. "Hello, my name is Min-seok. I'd like to visit the mayor, so I made my way here." Two soldiers immediately blocked my path. "I'm afraid we can't let you through. Please return to your designated quarters. You may not be aware, but Mayor Baek Do-hyun doesn't accept visitors. In that case, could you pass along a message for me? If he hears it, he'll want to see me. I have no doubt about that." Baek Do-hyun's voice came softly. "Very well, Citizen Min-seok. What is it you'd like to say to me? You've already heard it, and it's because you heard it that you let me in, isn't it? The previous night I had warned the brigade commander. I agree with leaving, but they're not going to let us go quietly. This place is essentially one enormous cult, which means they will react with extreme hostility to anyone trying to leave. I know exactly how violent groups like this can become when pushed to the edge. If it comes to that, we could end up seriously hurt. Some of us might even die. And if Baek Do-hyun is the same kind of being as me, my very existence will make him deeply uneasy." Baek Do-hyun's expression in front of me was thunderously dark. "Say it again. Make it clear," I replied without a hint of agitation. "I am, like you, someone chosen by the goddess. So you're claiming to be a proxy, just like me, Baek Do-hyun?" I gave a small smile. "That's right. Is that so?" Baek Do-hyun surged forward and slammed his hand down on top of my head. "You have some nerve. Who do you think you are comparing yourself to me? Come on then. Let me see for myself whether you truly are chosen by the goddess, or just another cunning, despicable demon." The previous evening, from somewhere deep in Baek Do-hyun's dark subconscious, a sharp and acrid scent had reached him. Having never encountered it before, he had turned, filled with curiosity, to notice a luminous figure standing behind him. "What's your name? The unpleasant smell you gave off yesterday, it's just as strong today. I've been meaning to call your group in and ask you about it, but I didn't expect you to come find me first. Just who do you think you are, daring to compare yourself to me?" Then a tremendous force erupted, forcing him to fall back. He looked down to find his own fingers had been twisted into knots, and my eyes burned red like something from the beyond. Baek Do-hyun, feeling genuinely threatened for the first time, lunged at me in a fury. Two colossal forces collided and the impact shook the room. Deputy Mayor Kim Sang-jung came running at the sound. The guard explained, "There was a massive commotion inside the office, and Mayor Baek Do-hyun isn't responding to calls." "Then what are you standing around for? Open the door and check on him. If something happens to the mayor, can you answer for it?" "But sir, the mayor told us under absolutely no circumstances to come in. He said he had important matters to discuss with Citizen Min-seok." Inside the office, the two of us had fought each other to a standstill, both covered in blood. Baek Do-hyun, staggered back repeatedly by the force of the explosions, finally shifted into a serious stance. Min-seok, I suppose I have to admit it. At the very least, you're not like Shinji Woo, someone who only knows how to talk. But even so, you and me being the same? Those words I still cannot accept. Let me make an exception and show you just how powerful the blessing the goddess has granted me truly is. But at that exact moment, the deputy mayor, oblivious to the gravity of what was unfolding, pushed open the door and walked right in. "Mayor, are you all right? What happened to your clothes? And what on earth happened to this office?" Baek Do-hyun deflected smoothly. "I suppose our conversation conversation got a little heated. Sorry for the trouble, Deputy Mayor, but it seems you didn't hear my question. Why did you come in, Deputy Mayor? I, Baek Do-hyun, made it very clear that no one was to enter. And then in that moment, I dropped to my knees in front of Baek Do-hyun. I believe you've misunderstood me. When I said we were the same just now, I wasn't trying to compare myself to you. I was saying that as fellow brothers blessed by the goddess, I wish to serve you, Mayor Baek. The previous evening, the brigade commander had pushed back on my plan. You want Baek Do-hyun to take a liking to you? Are you planning to bow down on your knees in front of him too, like you did with me? If that's what it takes, I have absolutely no problem with it. I've heard the people in power tend to respond well to exactly that gesture, and gaining Baek Do-hyun's favor is the only way we're going to walk out of City D without trouble. An existence powerful enough to threaten you pledging their loyalty to you. That's a proposal no one turns down. But Baek Do-hyun looked unmoved. You're deceiving me. You want to earn my favor, gain my trust, protect your people, and then drive a blade into my back. Did you honestly think a clumsy lie like that was going to fool me, Baek Do-hyun? I gave a small smile. And so what if I am? What does it matter if I'm lying to you? If I betrayed you, I'd fail in the end either way. You already suspect me, and your strength is beyond mine. What matters most to me is the safety of the people I came here with. I would never do anything to put them at risk. So tell me, do you still think I'm lying to you? One and only chosen representative. Baek Do-hyun broke into a slow smile. The more I listen to you, the more I find you oddly to my liking. Very well, Baek Do-hyun will take you in, citizen. Your companions will be protected, and I'll make a special exception to allow you to serve at my side. As it happens, the deputy mayor position has just opened up. For my daughter's safety, I was willing to serve under a zombie's command, but earning his trust required passing a test, and that test was burning the hero Shin Ji-woo alive, in front of everyone. In the plaza, the crowd was chanting, "Execute him! Execute him!" At the center of the square, the pyre stood ready and the prisoner had been hoisted high. Domi turned to the brigade commander. Where did my dad go? No matter how many times I asked, nobody would answer me. Did something happen? The brigade commander clenched his jaw and quietly ordered one of his men to take Domi somewhere out of sight. Then, under the roaring cheers of the crowd, the execution ceremony began. Mayor Baek Do-hyun spoke slowly and deliberately. Before the execution, there is some unfortunate news I must share with everyone. The despicable demon Shin Ji-woo attempted to escape this very morning, and in doing so, brutally murdered our deputy mayor Kim Sang-jung. A wave of outrage erupted from the crowd. What an absolute monster. Baek Do-hyun put on a show of grief. The fault lies with me for failing to protect the deputy mayor. My heart has been in agony since this morning, but the all-knowing goddess has sent us someone worthy to fill the position of our new deputy mayor. And today, he will stand beside me as we punish the cunning demon together. His name is Min-seok. The reason I stood there holding a torch was because this was the test Baek Do-hyun had set for me. He wanted me, as deputy mayor, to personally put the demon to death. It is the destiny of those who have received the blessing to kill demons. Accept that destiny and I will accept you. When the crowd saw me raise the torch, they erupted into frenzied cheering. Colonel Cha-pong-ho stood to one side, face dark as a storm cloud. The night before, he had been beside himself. What? That lunatic wants you to kill someone tonight? That's enough. We're leaving tonight. But I stopped him. We can't go. As long as Baek Do-hyun remains in City D, leaving like that carries too much risk. Coming to City D, getting tangled up in all of this, that's on me. When it comes to protecting Domi, I have no interest in drawing any moral lines. The flames poured down and caught the pile of wood below. The figure tied above endured the searing heat. The crowd celebrated, drunk on the sight of their demon burning. Then Mayor Baek Do-hyun leapt to my side. In the name of the goddess's chosen proxy, I hereby declare, from this moment forward, Min-seok, you are sworn to Baek Do-hyun. Do you accept? I accept. Citizens, let us rejoice. For our new deputy mayor, Min-seok. Another wave of thunderous cheering swept through the crowd, drowning out even the agonized cries rising from the flames. The view cut to after the ceremony. 3 soldiers escorted the new deputy mayor back to his room. Inside, Cha-pong-ho and the others were already waiting. But when the deputy mayor removed his hood, an unfamiliar face was revealed. Pleased to meet you. I am Shin Ji-woo, captain of the Blue Eagle Unit, Jeoryong Joint Command Headquarters. The room went utterly still. The brigade commander could only shake his head. That man is completely out of his mind. It had all been part of my plan. For Domi's sake, I have no use for moral lines. But this time, I didn't need to cross them. Tonight, I would earn Baek Do-hyun's trust, while simultaneously pulling off a switch, rescuing Shin Ji-woo from the flames, and this plan, only I could have carried it out. The next day, I arrived for the deputy mayor's inauguration ceremony. I'm sorry, Mayor Baek Do-hyun, I'm late. Baek Do-hyun smiled. Understandable. After everything that happened last night, I'm sure you didn't sleep well. Even I can still see it all vividly when I think back on last night. The fact that you eliminated the demon without a moment's hesitation was truly reassuring. Still, Try not to be late next time. I, Baek Do-hyun, have no fondness for dogs that don't listen to their master. Are we clear? I could only nod. Baek Do-hyun added, by the way, Shinji Woo burned extremely cleanly, though there was a small piece of remains left. Looked like the right arm. What he didn't know was that the one who had been executed in the flames last night was me. The previous night, Shinji Woo had expressed his regrets. I thought I had mentally prepared myself. But seeing you like this, I still can't quite accept it, Mr. Min-seok. I shrugged it off. I was late getting to you. Finding you without being seen wasn't easy. Shinji Woo thanked me again. Either way, if it weren't for you, I'd have been dead long ago. It was a plan thrown together in a hurry, but it worked well enough. At that, Shinji Woo let out something that had been eating at him. Having Baek Do-hyun right there in front of me and still having to hold back my anger, that was agony. But after everything that happened, there's one thing I know for certain. I cannot kill Baek Do-hyun myself. And there's one other thing I'm certain of. Mr. Min-seok, you can. I didn't follow. Why would I want to get rid of him? I'm the deputy mayor now. I have no reason to do that. And please don't misunderstand me. The only reason I saved you was because I had the means to do it. If I hadn't, I would have let you die without a second thought. Besides, I'm genuinely curious. Why do you want Baek Do-hyun dead? I'll grant you, his character is brutal, but he did hold City D together, didn't he? Mr. Shinji Woo, do you think you would have done any differently? At that, Shinji Woo slammed his fist on the table. Do you have any idea what Baek Do-hyun has done to this place? And you say that? From yesterday until now, have you seen a single citizen out on the streets? The last hope, the undying ember, the city of miracles. Shinji Woo's voice rose to a shout. I don't know everything, but citizens are being kept locked inside their homes. They only come out for the rallies like puppets on strings. And they're always singing that same song, wild-eyed, over and over. Alright, I'll admit it. He held this city with strength that defies all reason. There was even a time when I let myself imagine he might be the one to save our nation. I gave a small smile at that. Sounds like someone else I know. Shinji Woo pressed on. Before all of this, Baek Do-hyun and I protected City D together. But something was wrong from the start. Wherever we recaptured territory, there were almost no survivors. Then one day, while searching the Mibong mountain area, my team and I found an abandoned warehouse. And inside that warehouse, we found the truth. Civilian victims hanging in the air. Baek Do-hyun, barely clothed, barely human, was feeding on them. When he saw us, he began to laugh. A wild, unhinged laugh. And to keep us quiet, he tried to kill us all. So please, I'm asking you, Mr. Min-seok, you are the only one who can restore this city to what it should be. My expression didn't change. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear any of that. I turned and walked out, ignoring him as he called after me. In City D, as long as I go against Baek Do-hyun's wishes, my daughter's safety cannot be guaranteed. I'm not a hero. I'm just a father who wants to live with his daughter. Domi, when did you come in? Did you hear what Dad just said? She shook her head. Not a word. Then get some rest, Domi. At that moment, Shinji Woo called after me one more time. Mr. Min-seok, do you truly believe that Baek Do-hyun is none of your concern? Every citizen in City D is required to attend Baek Do-hyun's rallies. Haven't you noticed anything strange? Among all those citizens, why are there no young women? At that very same moment, inside the mayor's office, once I had confirmed that all members of the expedition team had safely departed, a killing intent surged through my hands. I shot forward and struck at Baek Do-hyun from behind. One impact, and his head hit the ground. Meanwhile, the City D expedition team led by Cha Pong-ho slipped out of the city without incident. The fully armed guards didn't dare defy the deputy mayor's orders. One of the soldiers couldn't help but grumble. Min-seok becoming deputy mayor was a bit much. There were plenty of other ways to sneak out. Another soldier defended the decision. The method we used had the highest chance of success. That man, as long as his daughter is safe, he doesn't care what happens to himself. At that point, Brigade Commander Cha Pong-ho called out to Domi. Young lady, are you worried about your father? Min-seok already told you. He'll be back as soon as he's finished. Domi's expression was quietly troubled. I'm not worried. Dad is kind of an idiot. He always ends up the one getting hurt. It was never his fault, but he always apologized first. I used to hate that about him. But there was this one time I was being bullied and Dad showed up. And it was like he became a completely different person. It was the first time in my life I'd ever seen him that angry. And then just last night, I saw it again. That same look on his face as that time. I'm not going to ask what happened. I just want to know one thing. Dad, he is going to come back safely, isn't he? The brigade commander gave her head a light tap. How could he not come back? With a daughter like you waiting right here for him. I kept things from you all this time and I know that hurt, but this I can promise you. Min-seok will be back before you know it. That said, Cha Pong-ho's palm was already slick with sweat. Min-seok, I will never doubt your strength, but you better watch yourself. Baek Do-hyun is not someone to take lightly. Back in the office, Baek Do-hyun's headless body came hurtling straight at me. I braced myself and held my ground against the onslaught. There was nothing to do but let Baek Do-hyun retrieve his own head. The monster before me radiated murderous intent. Why? I trusted you, Min-seok, and this is how you repay me? You're wrong. I was never on your side. Not for a single moment. With blinding speed, my hand shot out again toward his skull. Baek Do-hyun blocked it and smiled with contempt. To think that someone chosen by the goddess would fall this low. becoming a demon like this. How truly sad. Have you forgotten? My power can suppress yours. You cannot beat me. But the very next second, his arm buckled and twisted under the force of my blow. Then I gave him no mercy, a one-sided, relentless beating. Baek Do-hyun's body was sent crashing like a cannonball. When the dust cleared, half of him was an absolute wreck. I gave him no moment to breathe. I came at him again like something out of a nightmare. The sheer speed of it filled Baek Do-hyun with genuine terror. He scrambled back frantically. Wait, I haven't fully recovered yet, but one of his legs was already wrenched clean off. This is impossible. The last time we fought, you could barely bend my fingers. How could you have become this strong in so little time? What he didn't know was that last time I had been deliberately holding back. But this time, for the sake of my beloved daughter, there was only one way this ended. Right here, right now, I finish you, Baek Do-hyun. Seeing death rushing toward him, Baek Do-hyun fell into a panic and began to beg. Then a group of soldiers burst in at the worst possible moment, and in that split second of distraction, Baek Do-hyun dodged the blow. Deputy Mayor, what are you doing? Mayor Baek Do-hyun, are you alright? Before the words were even out, Baek Do-hyun had grabbed both soldiers by the head. Then he opened his jaw wide. I lunged forward to stop him, and was sent hurtling backward by a massive force. I barely steadied myself after the blast. When I looked up, Baek Do-hyun had dropped all pretense. The hideous true face of the zombie he was lay bare. This is absurd. I took you in. I turned you from nothing into someone, and yet you dare say you'll finish me? Then try. I, Baek Do-hyun, will show you just how deeply the goddess loves me. Before the outbreak, Baek Do-hyun had been the leader of a religious cult. His name carried the meaning, pure, righteous, wise, and benevolent. He had declared himself a god, a being unlike any other, all-powerful and above all things. Worship me. Follow me. I, Baek Do-hyun, will save you all. But when the outbreak came, he fell apart instantly. His followers pounded desperately on his door. Baek Do-hyun, the people outside have lost their minds. It's chaos. Is this the end you prophesied? Then please, save us. When no one answered, they broke the door down and found the great cult leader Baek Do-hyun frantically stuffing cash into a bag. Ignoring the stunned faces of his followers, he bolted for the exit. Baek Do-hyun has been embezzling funds. He's running. Stop him. Let go of me. I am Baek Do-hyun. No matter how much he screamed, no one cared anymore. His former followers had decided to burn him alive. The god is enraged. The heart of cult leader Baek Do-hyun has been taken by a demon. The dragon goddess is furious at his wickedness. We must gouge out his treacherous eyes and burn his filthy body to ash to appease the goddess's wrath. In the flames, Baek Do-hyun wailed, "Please, someone save me. It burns. Won't someone help me?" And just as all hope was gone, a golden radiance from the goddess burst forth. The blinding light froze everyone in place. Then Baek Do-hyun stepped out of the fire, eyes blazing crimson, his form terrifying beyond reckoning. I, Baek Do-hyun, am the chosen one, blessed by the gods, capable of anything. Now the Baek Do-hyun before me lowered his body slightly, and in a single instant his blood-red hand was already at my face. Both speed and power had jumped several levels. I could do nothing but evade, but his speed was now beyond mine. There was no longer anywhere to run. That hit landed hard. Baek Do-hyun's assault didn't let up for a second. Massive force cratered the ground beneath us. Unable to dodge, I took another direct blow. I tumbled hard across the floor before barely coming to a stop. Seeing me down, Baek Do-hyun couldn't help but sneer. "Is that all you've got? Did you really think this little amount of strength could compete with the love I've been given? I'm disappointed, Min-seok. So that's how it is. Only now do I understand why the goddess sent a demon like you before me. It was so I could pass judgment on you for the sin of insulting the goddess's blessing. Because the goddess trusts only me, Baek Do-hyun, the great dragon goddess. Please forgive my ignorance for only realizing it now. I will make that cunning demon and his blood-tied child suffer until they beg for death." With that, he launched himself at me to deliver the final blow, but I wasn't afraid. Every bit of this was exactly what I had planned for. The next second, a blinding white light blazed from the top of the building. Shinji Woo had activated the lights right on schedule. 6 enormous floodlights blazed directly into Baek Do-hyun's face, and immediately Baek Do-hyun crumpled to the ground, completely overwhelmed. "Photopic disturbance," I said slowly. "Due to congenital or acquired damage to the optic nerve, the affected individual can only perceive the outlines of moving objects through their vision. While their light sensitivity is far more acute than a normal person's, their ability to recover their field of vision is several times slower. For someone like this, the greatest danger is intense light." Blinded and flailing, Baek Do-hyun swung wildly. "Spare me the lecture. Shut your mouth and get out here where I can reach you." The intense light had already begun affecting his nervous system, causing it to spiral out of control. A nervous system pushed beyond human limits meant his suffering was multiplying by the second. I stepped out calmly and stood before him. "With your blessing mode activated, every nerve in your body is running completely haywire right now, isn't it?" Baek Do-hyun's voice cracked with horror. "You planned this from the very beginning, didn't you? Acting like you were testing your strength against me to provoke me, getting me to awaken this body, then pretending you couldn't beat me to lead me here. Every single part of this was your plan from the start?" I confirmed it without hesitation. "Your strength and speed both surpass mine. It does seem you've truly received an extraordinary amount of love, but what you don't know is, compared to the power that comes from receiving love, the power that comes from trying to protect love is far, far greater. And so, with a set of brass knuckles on my fists, I gave Baek Do-hyun the beating of his life. The man who had caused untold suffering was pounded into pieces. Baek Do-hyun could no longer regenerate. After 3.5 hours of combat, it was over. Shin Ji-woo stood looking at the wreckage, his years of grief finally giving way. Baek Do-hyun, I never thought I'd live to see you lying there like that. It's truly unbelievable, Mr. Ryu Min-seok. I kept it modest. This was all thanks to Captain Shin Ji-woo's intelligence work. No, even with his vision stripped away and his nerves out of control, Baek Do-hyun would never have been brought down so easily. The only reason you won was because you were simply stronger than him. Then, just as we believed it was finished and prepared to leave, the goddess's voice echoed inside what remained of Baek Do-hyun. Rise, and with the heart and the shattered remains beating wildly back to life, a monstrous zombie resembling some enormous centipede erupted from the ground. Shin Ji-woo stared in disbelief. Baek Do-hyun is still alive. I've never seen this form before. One look was all I needed. This was a tardigrade-type high-level mutant zombie. The tardigrade, truly unbelievable. Baek Do-hyun's true nature was a high-level mutant zombie all along. No time to hesitate. I grabbed Shin Ji-woo and we ran. If it really is a tardigrade, then it has one more trait to account for. The next second, the tardigrade's body began to expand and stretch skyward, growing like a tree shooting toward the heavens. Meanwhile, back at the deputy mayor's inauguration ceremony, hours had passed with no sign of anyone. The guards had heard tremendous sounds from inside but didn't dare go out to investigate. The fate of the previous deputy mayor had left them deeply afraid. Yet after more than 3 hours, they couldn't help but worry. Then the tardigrade's massive body exploded straight through the entire building, a silhouette like a pillar of the sky lined with rows of razor-sharp fangs. The expo tower, it's collapsing? What is that monster? The crowd scattered into blind, screaming chaos. What on earth is happening? That monster isn't the expo tower where Mayor Baek Do-hyun is based? Mayor Baek Do-hyun, where is he? While everyone fled in terror, Shin Ji-woo raised his flamethrower and aimed straight at the zombie. I'm right here, Baek Do-hyun. Sure enough, Baek Do-hyun was drawn to it immediately, opening its massive jaws and lunging toward Shin Ji-woo. Shin Ji-woo grabbed a rope and swung clear, then mounted the waiting motorcycle and tore away at full speed. He recalled what I'd told him just moments before. The tardigrade's outer hide is tougher than high-tensile steel, and the harder you hit it, the more its structure reinforces itself. However, while its exterior is near impenetrable, its internal organs are surprisingly fragile. Shin Ji-woo followed the agreed-upon plan, luring Baek Do-hyun along the route we'd mapped out, until he finally stopped in front of the designated building. And there I was, chainsaw already in hand, waiting. The moment the monster opened wide, I gunned the chainsaw, and at exactly the right instant, I jumped straight in. In just a moment, the chainsaw tore upward through the creature from the inside out. I threw every bit of force I had into it. Blood erupted from the zombie in a torrent. The creature, dozens of meters in length, began to split apart from the head down. A sharp, terrible sound rang out alongside its dying wail, and the body cleaved into two massive halves. I burst free from inside the zombie like something sent from above. The sight left everyone frozen, Domi included. And as Baek Do-hyun finally detonated into fragments, City D was declared reclaimed from the zombies, but the citizens had yet to recover from their shock. Where did Mayor Baek Do-hyun go? What just happened? And what was that monster? The building Mayor Baek Do-hyun was in collapsed. Was the mayor killed? Can someone please explain? The crowd began calling out, Mayor, are you out there? Mayor Baek Do-hyun, please don't leave us. In response to their calling, a barely audible sound rose from the remains of Baek Do-hyun. Can you hear them? Do you hear what I mean to them? Even I was taken aback. You're still alive. You are remarkably stubborn. I will never die, even if this flesh rots away. As long as every person in the city holds me in reverence, I will live on within it. I stepped down and placed my foot on what remained of him. Still this foolish, even at the very end. Have you forgotten already? There's one person in all of City D who does not bow to you. Before the words were finished, a video of Baek Do-hyun's murders began playing across the giant screen. It hit the crowd like a sledgehammer. Their entire world tilted on its axis. This is real? That can't be right. This is impossible. Mayor Baek Do-hyun was this kind of monster all along? Wait, the one up there, the soldier who just took down that creature, isn't that Shin Ji-woo? But didn't Shin Ji-woo get burned alive last night? One impossible revelation after another. It was a lot for the citizens to absorb. Then Shin Ji-woo's voice rang out, fierce, clear, and without a shred of doubt. It was everything Baek Do-hyun was not, and as understanding washed over them, the citizens began to raise their hands one by one. Fists rose into the air across the crowd as they erupted in cheers. City D was finally truly free, and I delivered my last words to what remained of Baek Do-hyun. Baek Do-hyun, City D is about to begin again. No one will remember you, not a single person, because controlling people's will can never match the strength of protecting it. Go watch from hell and see for yourself. With that, ignoring his furious screaming, I ground him beneath my foot until there was nothing left. Once Baek Do-hyun Hyun was confirmed dead, City D began to rebuild. His shadow still lingered in the corners of the city, but everything was returning to what it should be. As long as this city followed Shin Ji-woo's lead, it would find its hope again. Colonel Cha Pong-ho returned a little later than planned, but the brigade had held firm against every zombie assault in the meantime. Everyone to the training ground. Starting today, our brigade begins large-scale mobilization. I stood looking out at the hopeful evening sky, and for the first time in a long while, I smiled. It had been anything but a straight road, but I had done it. My beloved daughter and I had finally made a home in City D, though after everything that had happened, I had come to face an uncomfortable truth. In this life, no matter how fortified the refuge, as long as zombies still walked the earth, Domi's future could never be completely safe. So there was only one path forward. Just you wait. Everything that threatens my daughter will be eliminated. Every last thing. With City D as my base, I will hunt down and destroy every zombie left standing across this entire country. Not long after, at a dam in one of City D's districts, as citizens watched in terror, a massive creature broke the water's surface, its crimson eyes gleaming through the dark.